Hey, 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 a little new music to start the show for you this week. Hopefully you enjoyed it. You got to try something new on the show. We got an awesome guest with me today, Mr. Tom Noyes of Coral Creek Club down in Boca Grande, Florida. We're going to talk to Tom about some of the amazing things they have got going at their club. They've really just been exploding in terms of membership. They've got a new director of golf instruction, which is a name you may or may not know, but I'm probably guessing that you do. And a lot of fantastic things happening there at the club. We're going to bring Tom on here in just a second. Let me give you a couple of quick updates on the show. Let's see, we're going into almost our fourth month here in the live format. It's been a blast getting your questions here as we go live for our experts. Once again, if you've got anything that you want to ask during the show, I'd love to hear it. We'd love to get an answer from our experts anytime that we're going live here with Private Club Radio. So do not be shy. Make sure you get your questions in there. I want to give a big thanks to our sponsor, the platform that we use for Private Club Radio, which is Restream. Restream helps us go live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube Live every Tuesday. If you use Restream, you can go live to 30 plus platforms. The tool is always being innovated. It's just a joy to use. I love Restream. I can't say enough great things about it. If you've got a club, you've got members that are really looking to interact in a different way. Maybe you've gone to virtual board meetings. Maybe you've gone to virtual committee meetings. Maybe you're doing virtual entertainment. Zoom's a great platform. It's a platform that I've used for years, but Restream is a platform that I think really adds another level. You can add in live video. You can add in different question and answer sessions, things that just can't happen in a normal virtual conferencing platform. I think it'd be a fantastic addition for your club. So Restream.io is the name of the company. You can go to privateclubradio.com/Restream and sign up for a free trial. Just try the tool out. I recommend you give it a shot, give it a whirl, and see if it's the right move for you guys. All right. I also want to give a big thanks to our presenting sponsors, Concert Golf Partners. Have been with the show now for many, many years. Peter and his team do a fantastic job providing capital solutions for clubs all over the country. If your club is looking maybe to do some renovations and maybe the money's just not there, maybe you've got some debt that's been on the books for a while, Peter and his team can help you do that. ConcertGolfPartners.com is where you'll learn more. Also want to give a big thanks to last week's guest, Brian Friedrichs. We had an awesome discussion. As we're going to talk about today, clubs really are booming. And if your club's not booming, if you're not hitting all-time record numbers at your club, I'd highly recommend you talk to the folks over at Capstone Hospitality. Brian and his team do a great job building membership and doing the marketing for golf and country clubs out there. So that's capstone-hospitality.com. A couple other just quick announcements. What's going on with a lot of people want to know what's happening with Let's Play Through Show. We're hitting huge numbers all of a sudden. The show is now hitting 200,000 views a month, which is fantastic. If you haven't checked that out, go on over to Let's Play Through on YouTube. And right now we're doing a lot of golf tech reviews and golf club reviews. So if your members are getting fit for the new season, maybe you're going to be opening up in April, you can get them excited about making some purchases in your pro shop. I've got all sorts of club and golf tech reviews going on over there right now. So check that one out. Let's Play Through. All right, without further ado, I'm going to bring on our featured guest of the day, Mr. Tom Noyes of Coral Creek. Tom, how are you, sir? How you doing?
Doing very good. Thank you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you. I want to first talk to you about just some of the changes that have happened here over the last year or so. When did you take over Coral Creek, Tom?
I came to Coral Creek Club in June of 2019, so just 22 months ago.
Yeah, and you've done a lot of work there. Let's talk first about that new golf course renovation and what you guys did there for that.
Sure. Well, the golf course renovation was already in plans when we got here. They'd probably been talking about it for a year and a half or better. Everybody who's in the business knows it takes quite a while to ramp up to a renovation. So we kind of finished up negotiating the contract, the actual design features and things like that. The Fazio group, Tom Fazio was our original designer here at Coral Creek Club. So, of course, we went back with them and to get help on this project. And So we were slated to begin a year ago, May. We were going to shut down on the 1st or so of May. Pandemic hit. We had to, of course, just like everything, we had to decide, are we go or no go. We made the determination with all of our major partners that we were going to be able to get our supplies, get our workers, keep everybody safe. Obviously, it was outdoor work, so we decided to go forward with the project, and we shut down in the middle of April and got to work.
That might have been really great timing, actually, in hindsight, huh?
Absolutely.
Wow. What was that decision process like, though? Did you how did those discussions go in the boardroom, Tom?
Well, John Leibold at Leibold Irrigation was our contractor who we'd already had under contract, and we obviously had to talk to them about everything from pipe and wire and fittings and heads and then sand and gravel. I mean, just everything from equipment delivery, materials delivery, supply chain. Was any of that going to be interrupted? Of course, we've now since learned a lot of things got interrupted, but in terms of, obviously dirt, gravel, and grass were not coming from overseas or anything like that. So we felt confident that all those pieces were going to be in place. And John assured us that he'd have a crew available and that we could keep everybody socially distanced and, COVID safe, which we did, and including all of his subcontractors. So. There was still a bit of risk in it, just like there would be with any project, but it ended up in hindsight being a good call.
Yeah, right. So probably the timing was absolutely perfect, because by the time things opened up, you were getting ready you were already rocking and rolling, which is awesome.
Yes.
So that Mr. Fazio came back to do that renovation as well, and he had some help as well.
He did. Ron Smith is one of his senior designers, and Ron was the one who basically was tasked with our project. Of course, Mr. Fazio oversees, all of what they do, I'm sure. He was somewhat limited in his travel, through COVID and everything. But Ron was here. Ron's from the East Coast of Florida, and he was here, a couple of times a week, with us, as well as, other members of the Fazio team. So it was a great unit we put together, and John Leibold, as good as they come in the business, and he's out of Sarasota, so he actually was here quite a bit more than he probably would be if they were working, somewhere further away.
Yeah, I bet. Absolutely. That's fantastic. Now you've got some other big changes happening there, and the next one I want to definitely go over with you is membership has just kind of started to explode. You probably weren't thinking when you started the 2020 calendar year that was going to happen, but tell us results of what happened last year.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been quite a run. We had a lot of uncertainty, obviously, through COVID and things of that nature. But the golf course opened up. We just, first of all, the project, we had perfect weather. You don't always get that in Florida. We didn't have too much rain or too little rain, and we didn't have any major impactful storms. Although it was a busy hurricane season, we didn't have anything that really knocked us out of the box for very long. The sod farms were very, very wet, so we did have some delivery delays, while it was grassing time. That was a problem for a short bit. But yeah, membership, 2 years ago we were in 165, 168 of golf members, and we just this week went over 200. So it's been great. And just like most club operators know, if you don't have the support, or once you have the positive support of your members and you've just created a whole flock of raving fans, they just they're going out and telling their friends and neighbors about it, and bringing folks to see the club, and it's been very well received.
I bet it's kind of like that snowball. It gets start rolling down the hill, and it just gets bigger and bigger as the excitement builds. And I always think that during like a renovation process, that's really one of the best times to get that snowball rolling, because people are excited for what's coming and what's down the pike. Did you find that was the case there as well?
There were people who actually came and visited the property, and they're the ones who are even more amazed. It was a very quiet summer in terms of members or prospective members coming to visit, but people still say, boy, when I was here last June, this place looked like the surface of the moon, and they're not wrong. I mean, there wasn't anything green out there. except the palms and palmettos. But so the change has been very, very dramatic. But yes, there were people, that were excited to get on board and get involved, just because they could foresee what was about to happen.
Now, when you've got a whole new influx of members, obviously there's a balance there. You've got your existing members that they want to feel like they're still special, and you're catering to their needs as well. How have you been able to balance that, Tom?
Well, it's a very good point, a great question. We actually talked about that at our annual meeting a couple of weeks ago, and we've had to be mindful of it and aware that by changing that larger percentage of your membership, any club, new or old, it could go the wrong way if you're not careful about your culture. So we're right up front about it, and we're talking about it even right now. What Paul, some people are saying, stop selling. It's like, well, not yet. But we just have to look at policies and processes and procedures. How many guests do we have early in the morning? Do we still let twosomes go out in the morning? We have to be mindful of the speed of play. And things of that nature. So those are the discussions we'll sit down with our subcommittees and advisory committee and take a look at as we kind of wrap up this season and work towards a more structured approach to how we play golf. Yes, it's definitely a little bit of a shock for people who are used to just coming out and saying, where do you want me? Where do you want me to start? Somebody just teed off on 1. I guess I'll go to 7. I'll go to doesn't quite work that way anymore, but we've noticed that it can be very, very smooth. I mean, obviously there's a lot of clubs in Florida that are playing 150, 175 rounds of golf a day and doing it very, very effectively. It just takes some prior planning and thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Patrick Kelly there, he said that it looks like the moon. That's a good visual, which, yeah, if you've never seen a golf course renovation, it's like, looks like some destruction, some tornado just went through there. How long was that entire process, by the way, Tom, from beginning to end for you guys?
So we started stripping greens. I said we closed in April, but we started stripping 9 greens on the middle of April and burying the green surfaces. The grass had already been sprayed out for the last month or so, and then construction in earnest started about the 1st or 2nd of May. We finished grassing on about the 15th of August, a couple of weeks behind our schedule. So we had to increase our sprig rates a little bit to get it done. But it was a very, very tight window, and we squeezed a lot into it. So whatever that is, May, June, July, August.
Right. Wow. And by now, I guess the grass has really grown in well. You're probably in really good shape over there, I bet.
Very, very good shape. But, even what Aaron Stevens, our golf course superintendent, he's just magic with turf grass and knowing what to do and when to do it. So, it certainly still has the same, normal characteristics that people, when you open a golf course, the bunkers are too soft and the greens are too hard. We've all heard that before, and those things will kind of mitigate over time and some cultural practices. But yeah, the turf is very, very tight. Mike Davis from the USGA was here a couple of weeks ago, and he was just amazed that he was playing on grass that was 7 months old. So that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's coming. Like, I don't want to take this discussion too far down that rabbit hole, but like the technology seems to have improved considerably. I played a golf course in Naples, the club at Renaissance, which was basically brand new. It was like a month old, and I couldn't believe how good the greens were. So obviously, the people in the greenskeeping departments, they've got some new toys or something. Like it's happening quicker than normal, it seems like.
Yeah, they're amazing people. I mean, going back 20 or 30 years when they had 2-year college degrees and things like that. But now these people, they study everything from, dirt and chemicals and the science is just amazing. And they do work wonders, and they always even seem to get the breaks they need from Mother Nature sometimes too.
That's always good, especially in Florida when you could have a summer where it doesn't stop raining and things like that. That's good. So getting back to like membership and all these, this influx of new members, does that help? Does that mean that you speed up your strategic plan in a way? Because I'm sure, you guys operate on some sort of a strategic, schedule of what you'd like to improve. Does it speed up when you get that big influx when you weren't expecting it?
Well, it definitely. It wasn't that we weren't. I mean, we have done a touch better than we anticipated, but we did have some stretch goals for this year, and we're right there, maybe a tad ahead. But it definitely takes the pressure off of some of our capital thinking and some of our spending. But we realize that when people are spending their hard-earned good money to join a club, that we need to make sure it's a club worthy of of the initiation fees and the dues that we're asking of them. So we have to look around and through the eyes of a new member. Sometimes staff and even older members kind of get used to seeing certain things, and we as operators have to be really careful not to get complacent about something. So we're working on capital projects for this summer and looking at what needs to be. If you're not keeping up, you're falling behind.
It's so true, especially seems like Florida. Especially, I know it was a couple years ago. They had invested, I think, $1 billion in golf course renovations across the state, and it seems like that's only accelerated here as clubs have now had more influx of capital. So it'll be. I don't know if we'll be able to recognize the state soon enough. We've got all the folks coming down from up north and whatnot. It's going to be a different place. But in general, as we talked about before the show started, I think that's a great thing for what's happening in Florida and for the golf business in general.
Yeah, it's certainly a healthy business, and there isn't very much good to say about COVID and a pandemic, but I think golf certainly got a bit of a shot in the arm, pardon the pun.
Sure.
On that.
I do like that. I got my first vaccine about a week and a half ago. I'm ready to break loose. I've been hoping to travel here, and I'm going to get my second vaccine. My second dose I'll get 2 weeks, I guess. So I'm looking forward to it. But they've done a great job too in Florida in terms of getting the vaccine out. In fact, I know there's been some times where they had too many and they had to open it up to people. So hats off to the governor and the fine folks running the state here, because they've done a pretty good job getting that stuff out, it seems like. Now, you guys made some decisions early on when it came to COVID. You made some decisions that were maybe bucking the trends a little bit. Tell us about that, Tom, and how those worked out for you.
Well, it's when you get faced with a crisis, it's sometimes tough to make those. These are new decisions for the most part, and one of the things that we didn't do, and we had a good reason not to do it, but we didn't go to single rider carts like so many operators did. We're a small club. We have a small fleet. But we also really had to number one, maintain the golf course, which was in such an infant state, when the pandemic broke out. So we just couldn't see putting all that extra traffic on the turf. So we went hard at push carts, walking, caddy programs, and things like that. We like many clubs didn't used to have those types of, didn't have walking or push carts before 11, 12, 1 o'clock. And, so we completely relaxed that all the way to starting time. And I think that's probably a positive change that we will see stick at our club. Certainly people are walking and using caddies, push carts first thing in the morning. And as long as the speed of play stays up, which it seems to have been, I think we've fairly well dispelled the old notion by some that walking slows down the golf course, but it doesn't necessarily have to. So, looking backwards, it was hard. We took the motorized carts just completely out for a little while, and kind of while things were settling into the new normal. And you can only look back sometimes and say, was that the right way to do it or the wrong?
Sure.
But, you gotta pick a path and go.
That's true. The decisiveness is so important in those times, right? And I think clubs that were decisive, that weren't hemming and hawing, are the ones that fared better in the end. So it's a big lesson, I think, for managers moving forward, because there will be another something, right? Whether it's a pandemic or something else, there'll always be something. It's decisiveness. That's a great point, Tom.
Right
up there, sir. And getting back to carts, I walk, and I think I definitely, at my course, it definitely doesn't slow the pace down, because instead of walking to the cart, driving around the greens, walking back up, you're just going in a straight line. You're going right to the tee box and right to the green, and so yeah, it seems like it hasn't affected the pace of play that I've seen at all, which has been great. Now let's talk about the one more big situation that has happened there at Coral Creek Club. You've got a new director of instruction, and it might be a name that folks know and have heard of. So tell us who that is, Tom.
Yeah, it's possible people have heard of him. We were very, very fortunate to have an inside relationship with a gentleman named David Ledbetter, and he's just up the road in Sarasota, and was kind of finishing up a relationship somewhere else. So we were able to engage him as our director of instruction last year, and it's just been, it's just been amazing. I mean, he's a wonderful gentleman, obviously a great coach and teacher, and he attracts a little bit of attention, and he's got a little star power, so people take note, and they've seen that in publications, they've seen it in on websites and things like that. So it's been really fun, and it's been mutually beneficial. Our members enjoy stopping in to say hello. He stops to chat with people. He brings his kids, I shouldn't say kids, his adult children out to golf, and they're both outstanding, obviously. And he brings, in 1 week's time, I think he brought 2 Masters champions over to the club to,
Wow.
To practice their game. So that, that's always very exciting for the membership too.
Yeah, what's the best way of leveraging that? So if there's other clubs out there that might have the opportunity to bring in someone like that, what would be your advice to managers out there for that?
Well, I think the number one thing I would say is do not be afraid of it. I mean, some people initially voiced concerns that he was going to bring in scads of outside students and things like that, but we were in control of the relationship and with the understandings and the agreements, and so that David doesn't do that. I mean, he actually, in fact, he's having a little hard time keeping up with the commitment, but one of our pledges was that all of our new members got a free lesson with David. So
what a cool selling point.
Yeah, he's got a touch of a backlog, but that's kind of a feather in Alan Pope's cap when he's working to close a sale on a membership. So star coaches bring star players, and people notice those types of things.
Right. I think it can only do wonders for membership recruitment, as you said there. That's always a good thing. So I definitely would recommend, folks explore. You've probably got hidden gems in your club. Everyone does, right? Whether they're a famous author or something. I mean, you don't want to use and abuse them, but there's some ways you can leverage that. I think that's a fantastic way to, get people interested in what's going on at your club. What are your parting thoughts here, Tom, in terms of future of Coral Creek Club or the golf industry in general? What would you say to folks who are in this business?
Well, one, if you're in the business, congratulations, you picked a great field. I've been in it a good long time and love it every single day. It doesn't seem like work when you're just passionate about what you do. I think, as I said, I think golf has gotten a good boost lately, and whether you're in the South or the North, I mean, outdoor activity, people I think are rediscovering the benefits of being healthy and mindful, and getting out for a daily walk and some fresh air and some vitamin D and sunshine and things like that. So I think the next what we're doing now is going to learn, what are we going to keep from COVID protocols and things like that. What didn't hurt us, walking in the morning, things of that nature. I think those will all be good positives. And, we just need to continue to, give our members what they're looking for and what they deserve to be members of our clubs.
That's fantastic advice, Tom. I appreciate your time so much, and thank you to all the listeners and viewers of our live stream here and live here on Tuesday. And if you haven't caught one of these live streams and you're listening to the podcast, definitely recommend you do pop in either to LinkedIn or our private Facebook group, the Private Club Radio Listeners Forum. Get your questions answered here live with our experts. But Tom, thank you so much. If people want to find out more about Coral Creek Club, how do they go about doing that?
Our website address is coralcreekclub.com, and we'll be glad to respond to any info requests that we get through the website. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. You have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Gabe. Talk to you soon.